Hello everyone, hope you all are doing well. Today we are about to discuss about the growth of Indian anthropology. The setting up of Asiatic Society of Bengal in 1774 by Sir William Jones is a landmark in the history of anthropology in India. Attempts have been made to review the growth of anthropology in India by S.C. Roy, D.N. Majumdar, G.S. Gure, S.C. Dube, N.K. Bose, L.P. Vidyarthi and Surajit Sinha, etc. In 1921, S.C. Roy presented a bibliography of the publication of tribal and caste studies in India. 25 years later, Majumdar reviewed the development of anthropology in India. G.S. Gure reviewed the development of anthropology in Bombay in a volume published by UNESCO in 1956. S.C. Dube presented a review in the proceeding of the 4th International Congress of Anthropology and Ethnological Sciences in 1952 in Vienna. In 1962, he presented another entitled Anthropology in India, published in D.N. Majumdar commemoration volume. N.K. Bose prepared a small booklet on this issue entitled 50 Years of Science in India, Progress of Anthropology and Archaeology, published by Indian Science Congress Association, Calcutta in 1663. L.P. Vidyarthi reviewed the growth of social anthropological research in India in his two papers published in 1966. He published a thorough and the latest review of the growth of Indian anthropology in his book entitled Rise of Anthropology in India, a Social Science Orientation, Volume 1, The Tribal Dimensions, published in 1978. By S.C. Dube, there is 3 phases: compilation and publication of volumes on tribes and caste, detailed monographic studies of individual tribes, mostly based upon personal observation, quantitative advancement and qualitative achievement. By N.K. Bose, Encyclopedia of Tribes and Caste, descriptive monographs, analytical studies of village, marriage and family, caste and civilization, etc. By D.N. Majumdar, there are 3 phases. Firstly, formulatory phase 1774 to 1911, constructive phase 1912 to 1937, critical phase 1938 to present day. According to L.P. Vidyarthi, the constructive period started around 1920 with the opening of the Department of Anthropology in Calcutta with R. Chandra as its head and the starting of Indian Anthropology Journal of Anthropology by S.C. Roy in 1921. In the critical period, Indian and British anthropologists met together on the occasion of Silver Jubilee of the Indian Science Congress at Lahore. D.N. Majumdar published a problem-oriented monograph on the tribe, published under the title A, Tribe in Transition, a study in culture patterns, published by Longman 1937. That constitutes the start of what Majumdar calls critical period in the growth of Indian anthropology. This period had the initiation of American collaboration with Lucknow University in anthropological studies. Oscar Lewis came to India as a consultant to the Central Ministry of Community Development to carry on anthropological studies on a large scale. Another significant outsider to help in this growth was Maurice Obler. Some noted Indian anthropologists like S.C. Dube also visited academic anthropological institutions in America. An important publication of this period was Religion and Society Among the Cooks of South India by M. N. Srinivas, published by Oxford University in 1952. Thus, the critical period was also called analytical period by some anthropologists, including L.P. Vidyarthi. In short, growth of anthropology in India can be briefly summarized as follows by different books. The beginning formative period in 1774, Sir William Jones started Asiatic Society of Bengal as its founder president to study nature and man in India. Since then, the British administrators, missionaries, travelers, and anthropologists studied Indian tribes and published their accounts in the Journal of Asiatic Society of Bengal, 1784, Indian Antiquary, 1872, Journal of Bear and Orissa Research Society, 1915, and Man in India, 1921. Next, the formative period. In details, accounts were also published in series of districts gazetters, handbooks and monograms on tribes. Data were collected on the tribes during the census in 1931 and 1941. Important contribution in this direction was made by scholarly British administrators such as Risley, Dalton, O'Malley, Russell, Thurston, Crooks, Campbell, Latham and Risley published general books on Indian ethnology. These were followed by detailed accounts of specific tribes by Briggs, Shakespeare, Gardel, Mills, Parry and Gregson. In the following important books are given below. The next slide is about the books of formative period. The important works of formative period: R.J. Latham, Ethnography of India, Tribes and Caste of Bengal by H.H. Risley, The Charmers by George W. Briggs, The Lucy Cookie by Shakespeare, etc. Missionaries. Also important ethnographic and linguistic studies in formative period. There are some P.O. Wadding and J. Hoffman, W.H. Rivers published an important books about that. The Todas in 1906, published by Macmillan and Co. London in 1911. G.G. Seligman and B.G. Seligman published an important work entitled The Vedas of Ceylon in 1911 by Cambridge University Press. The next slide is also about formative period. Then constructive period. In 1919, social anthropology was included in the curriculum of Bombay University in sociology. In 1921, Department of Anthropology has started Calcutta University. This center started anthropological researches to which important contributions were made by the following scholars and their publications: A. Radcliffe Brown, J. H. Houghton, S. C. Roy. By A. Radcliffe Brown, The Aflaman Islanders, A Study in Social Anthropology by J. F. Houghton, Census of India, Volume 1, S. C. Roy, Mundas and Their Country, Oraos and Chotnagpur, The Virora Little Known Jungle Tribe of Chotnagpur, Orao Religion and Customs in Ranchi, The Hill Bhuya of Orissa, Ranchi, The Khari, etc. The next slide also is about constructive period and important books of constructive period. There are so many important books in constructive period which are given in next slide. Varier Elohim, The Baiga, Murder Suicide, Maria by Varier Elohim, The Muria and their Ghotul is a very famous book of Varier Elohim. Religion of an Indian Tribe by Varier Elohim, C. von Fuhr, Homendorf, The Chenchus, The Tribal Population of Hyderabad, The Reddish of Basin Hills, A Study in Acculturation, The Agriculture and Land Tenure among the Apatanis tribe of Arunachal Pradesh, Notes on Tribal Justice among the Apatanis. Next slide also is about constructive period and also is about important books of constructive period in next slide. The others books of constructive period are by G.S. Ghurye, A Note on Cross-Cousin Marriage and Rural Organization, by K.P. Chattopadhyay, An Essay on the History of Newer Culture, Some Malayan Kinship Terms, by M.N. Srinivas, Marriage and Family in Mysore, The Social Organization of South India, by D.N. Majumdar, A Tribe in Transition, A Study in Culture, by Iravati Karve, Kinship Terminology and Kinship Use of Maratha Country. Next slide is also about constructive period. G.S. Ghurye, K.P. Chattopadhyay, M.N. Srinivas, D.N. Majumdar, Iravati Karve, they are so important scientists in constructive period. Next slide had different information about other scientists of constructive period. They are R.N. Mishra, L.K. Iyer, K.P. Chattopadhyay, T.C. Das, D.N. Majumdar, Iravati Karve, L.K. Ananthakrishnan, A. Ayyappan, etc. Monographs and books of them are important in constructive period. Association reviewed the progress of anthropology in finding this was the first review of the anthropological researches in India. Among the most notable contributions made to anthropology during this period, the works of D.N. Majumdar, M.N. Srinivas, N.K. Bose may be noted. D.N. Majumdar published from Lucknow in 1950. The Affairs of a Tribe, a study in tribal dynamics in 1942. M.N. Srinivas published his work Marriage and Family in Mysore. An important contribution was made by N.K. Bose in his paper Hindu Method of Tribal Absorption is a very important portion of Indian anthropology, all cultural or social anthropology. Summing up of the development of anthropology in Indian constructive period, L.P. Vidyarthi has rightly remarked, Indian anthropology, which was born and brought up under the predominant influence of the British, matured during the constructive phase on the lines of British anthropology. During this period, except a few studies of Indian institutions like caste, the tribal studies continued to be the exclusive field of study by the enlightened British scholars, administrations, missionaries, and later by the British and Indian anthropologists till the end of the 40s of the century. On the lines of anthropology taught at that time at Cambridge, Oxford, and London, Indian anthropology was characterized by ethnological and monographic studies with a special emphasis on researches in kinship and social organization. Next slide is about analytical period 1950. After Second World War, some eminent American anthropologists including Maurice Opeller of Cornell University, Oscar Lewis of University of Illinois, David Mandelbaum of the University of California and others came to India and conducted many important studies in rural and tribal areas. Besides, important rural studies were made by M.N. Srinivas, Iravati Karve, S.C. Dubey, and D.N. Majumdar, among others. The following are the notable contributions to the growth of anthropology in India during this period is viewed in next slide of important books of analytical period. There are so many books, about 35. First one is by M.N. Srinivas, Religion and the Society Among the Cooks of South India is very important. Kinship Organization in India by Iravati Karve. She is one of the important feminist anthropologists. S.K. Srivastava, The Tharu, A Study in Cultural Dynamics. Himalayan Polyandry by D.N. Majumdar. Rengshangli by Berlin. The Konian Nagas by V. Heidenmorf. The Malay Study in Nature Spirit Complex by L.P. Vidyarthi. It is also an important concept of Indian anthropology. Edward J. Joy, A Tribal Village in Middle India, etc. Next slide is also about important books of analytical period. There go on. Sachindananda, book's name Culture Change in Tribal Bihar. Dynamics of Leadership by B.N. Shah. Murder and Suicide Among the True Types of Bihar by A.V. Sharan. The Lodhas of West Bengal by P.K. Bhaumik. Tribe, Caste and Nation, F.G. Valley. The Scheduled Tribes by G.S. Ghure. Tribal Life in Gujarat, P.G. Shah. The Thakurs of Sahatri by Ellen Chapekar. Others are Tribal Life in Gujarat by P.G. Shah. The Views of Ratanmal by Y.V.S. Nath. Kadar of Cochin, Madras, Enrefil, etc. Others are ongoing. The Twice Born by G.M. Carstairs, Group Dynamics by Oscar Lewis. There are so many other books in view in next slide of analytical period of important books. They are ongoing. H.G. Valley Tribes, Caste and Nation is a very important book. Oscar Lewis' book Goof's Dynamics in a North Indian Village is a very important book which is published in 1954. Nomads in Mysore City is by P.K. Mishra in 1971. Y.V.S. Nath, The Fields of Ratanmal, Baroda is published in 1960. Other books of analytical periods are H.S. Dillon, Leadership and Groups in South Indian Village, Merging Patterns of Rural Leadership in Southern by S.C. Dubey, Caste in Indian Politics by Rajni Kotari, Dynamics of Tribal Leadership in Bihar by L.P. Vidyarthi, Affairs of a Tribe, a Study in Tribal Dynamics by D.N. Majumdar, Religion of an Indian Tribe by Verrier Elwin in 1955. The next slide is going on. By L.P. Vidyarthi, Aspects of Religion in Indian Society, Religion in South Asia by E.V. Harper, Sacred Complex of Hindu Gaya by L.P. Vidyarthi, Sacred Complex of Janakpur by M. Jha, Sacred Complex of India by L.P. Vidyarthi, Sacred Complex of Deoghar by S. Narayan in 1973. They are so important books of analytical period. The next slide is about conclusion. Numerous papers have been published by anthropologists in India concerning change leading to tribal identity, integration, vanishing culture and planning, emergence of industrial anthropology, increased emphasis on tribal demography and integrated study of tribal regions. Important contribution has been made to action research, socio-psychological research, folklore researches, study of power structure and leadership and anthropology of religion. To conclude in the words of L.P. Vidyarthi, the journey of Indian anthropology still continues. It has gone much ahead under the influence of and collaboration with the British and American anthropologists. Of course, in a broader perspective, they will continue. See you in the next video. Till then, goodbye. Next topic is about growth and development of world anthropology. Thank you from Storyteller Anthropology.